So basically it's a mess. This is a rest area east of Toronto. And you can probably tell that the way I'm parked, I'm not supposed to be parked like this, because the entrance is from here, but everything was blocked, you know. I was standing there at the entrance to the trucks parking, probably, I don't know, 20 minutes, nothing is moving. And so finally I had to go around. I thought, okay, either I'm leaving and the next one is 40 miles away, but you know, I already tired, didn't want to drive, and it was 9 o'clock. And I did a little bit of cheating, went around like through the exit, you know, where people exit, and I see there's a bunch of spots, you know, they all were trying to get parked right next to the driveway, you know, but over here there was some spots, so I just drove in between two trucks. And there's a reefer on my right, and this guy here is with a kind of like something like Conestoga, but not Conestoga because it has straps, you know, but the ones that are popular in Europe, like most of them, they don't have. And this guy just parked in front of me. I thought he hit me or something. But that's what they do. They go inside to grab coffee. They don't care. Well, they know I'm probably parked for the night, right? And that guy was parked like that. Like, I need this to get out in the morning. But anyway, to give you guys a quick update. So finally we are moving. And we are a goal to load tomorrow in eastern Quebec. And actually it's the temperature today was crazy. It started as -3, 28 F, and then it became 0. And I think last time I checked it was 0 or 32, and it started melting. And I was determined to find a load today, Wednesday, because for me Wednesday is the best day, you know. Like I always say that Monday everybody is still sleeping, like the brokers. Friday they're already somewhere at the bar, you know. So you have only 3 days: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And Wednesday in the middle is usually when they start, you know, hustling. And so I found actually 2 loads that I could do, and they both involved considerable deadhead. But one was to Quebec, 700 miles empty, or 731, and then take that load to US. And the other load was to go 530 miles to Virginia and bring back a load to Toronto, right? And for some reason I decided to go with this one, with the Quebec one, even though there's more miles, but it pays better. And it's they're both oversized, but that one is much heavier. That one is 52,000 pounds. This one is like just a couple of skids, you know, some agricultural stuff. They said overall it should be 13,000 pounds, but it's a bit wide. But they agreed to pay for the permits, you know. And I'm using the same company I'm always using, but instead of billing me, they're gonna bill this big, like the actual shipper. The shipper has the account, so the shipper pays for the permits, you know. And that other one from Virginia was not ready anyway. It's basically some kind of a broken drill rig, and they said they want to drag it onto my trailer, and I said, like, the tracks are moving, right? Because it's a tracked machine. I said, the tracks are spinning, right? They said, yeah. We double checked with them. They said the tracks are spinning, so if they hook up a winch, you wouldn't happen to have a winch on your trailer, would you? The guy is asking me. And I said, well, you know, I'm in Ontario, right? We have highway trucks. Like, this is not an oil field, right? If this was Alberta, I'm pretty sure every second trailer would have a winch, right? But here it's not common, you know. So I said, no, I don't have a winch. Yeah, so I said, send me the agreement. Yeah, let's do the rate confirmation. Now I'm interested, you know, the rate was okay. Like, there's nothing from Ontario that pays good money, so I might as well go empty. So these were my 2 loads. But that guy, so he disappeared with a drill rig. But this Quebec guy, well, he's not from Quebec, but the load is in Quebec, right? This guy, everything was much faster because, you know how I always say, when you're independent, you have to sign an agreement with a broker each time you book a load, if you did not work with them before. So it's always like, it doesn't take long. You just, you know, enter the date, your company name, sign, boom, and email them back. But it's a bit of a hassle. But what's cool about this one is that I worked with these guys before, and they asked me for my AMC number. I told them the AMC number. The guy was able to find me on the computer right away. He says, yeah, you all set up. You set up to work. We are set up to work with you. Just we need to get insurance update, because this was last year, and of course my insurance changed, you know, and I have a new provider. And so I emailed my insurance guy. I said, oh, actually we have a special email address where I sent a request for a certificate of insurance, because these guys wants to see their company there saying that this is certificate holder, right? Like, they want to see the name of this broker company there. So I cannot just send him generic certificate, which I have on my computer. So it has to be kind of like customized, right? And so I email my agent, and probably 15-20 minutes later they email me back the certificate with the company name over there at the bottom left. Everything is cool, and then the guy, boom, sends me the rate confirmation. And I'm like, so what? That guy, like, with the drill rig, it's like always like this, you know. Either there's nothing or you have too many loads. But remember how I was upset last time these guys canceled loads on me? And so I said, I'm booking loads unless like, I don't care, then I cancel. But it's kind of hard to do that, you know. I don't want to be so bad to people, you know. And so as soon as I booked this one and I confirmed with the guy, I said, we're good to go. You have customs paperwork, you know who the broker is? The guy says, yeah. I said, we don't need a bond. The guy says, no. So I even called the French company where I'm loading. I said, you guys have this? I'm coming Friday morning. You know this? Going to US? Yeah, we. I said, it's ready? Yeah, Friday, right? I said, yeah, Friday. Okay. And then I emailed the drill rig guy. I said, I'm sorry, I booked a load, but I'll be here. I'll be near Philadelphia, PA, Monday or Tuesday. And I said, I can do your load if you don't find anybody by that time. And this guy says, well, actually, yeah, it took a while, because he says they decided not to use a winch. I guess the tracks probably don't spin. He says they decided to use crane, or basically 2 big wrecker trucks. You know, like wrecker trucks, they can lift, like they act as cranes, right? And so the plan is they want to lift this drill rig, and then I back under and they put it down. And so the guy says, yeah, it can wait. It basically goes to Canada for repairs. And he says, when do you think you can pick it up? I said, well, probably Tuesday, Wednesday. He said, from Philadelphia, your place, it's not too far. Somewhere in Virginia, I think. Like, this drill rig is sitting there. And the guy says, okay, just let me know, you know, your schedule. And he says, I just want to send you the rate confirmation so that you know that you have this load. I said, okay. So I hope tomorrow or Friday he's gonna send me a rate confirmation, but anything can happen. For now, at least I have this load, and the weather's so bad, and my parking lot is covered in ice. And right after I had the rate confirmation, I figured that I need to go to Kenworth to pick up the filter, because you know, this water separator fuel filter, right? Because I have the wrong one, right? What the one they gave me from the plant, turns out that's the wrong one. That's why they keep getting plugged, because the size, you know, like the micron size is different, not what Cummins recommends. And so now they did all this research. They said you need this K371012, and I cannot use fleet guard because my bowl, you know, the assembly is from Packard, you know, and to use fleet guard or Cummins, you know, part, I have to replace this Packard assembly with Defco, and that's what lots of people say, that one is better. But anyway, so for now I'm not sure how much money is gonna cost, you know, how much it's gonna cost. So for now I just drove to Kenworth, got this one, so now I have a spare one, and that one is pretty fresh, that's inside now, right? And then I stopped by the Mac, because you know, the Mac where I used to go when I had a Mac truck, and they have this. It's like very cheap. It's like 5.75 Canadian dollars for one bottle, and it's 1 liter, so it's like 2.5 pints or something, right? So basically I put one inside each tank, and actually now it's pretty warm, right? It's 32 or 0 Celsius, but you never know, especially Quebec in the north there, it can be very cold, you know. So the second thing I did was I took my truck, it was still not connected to the trailer, and I drove around the corner to Petro-Canada, and I put 1 bottle in each tank, and I filled up. I was at 50%, and I think one tank took 220 liters and the other one took 200. So 400 is basically 100 gallons US. And so that it was done, and then I came back and I faced the nightmare of hooking up to the trailer. I was really not looking forward to that, you know, because the parking lot is like a skating rink. I even had trouble sometimes with my Challenger, because it's a rear-wheel drive. I would have to go backwards, you know, because the wheels are spinning. It's like literally like this much ice, you know. It's like even difficult to walk, you know. They have some issues over there with the drainage, and plus the weather was up, and like the temperature was up and down. It's melting one day, then it's frozen. It was like minus 20 Celsius went 3 days ago, right? Or minus 18 in the morning, which is what, like 2F, you know. Crazy weather. And now it's raining. So anyway, so I managed to get under the trailer, hook up, lifted those legs because they were down, right? I didn't hit them. But then my fifth wheel is all the way in the back, because last load, if you remember, I did this dry van, right? And that one had a very big, like the kingpin was very large, the kingpin distance from the front to kingpin, and so I had to move my fifth wheel, otherwise that front of the trailer would hit my fenders on the pusher axle, right? And so now the fifth wheel is all the way in the back, and normally I don't drive like that, right? And I tried, the trailer was still on the ground, so I tried to move the fifth wheel, because you have to take the load off, right, to be able to move it. So I opened the fifth wheel, tried to back, because I needed to bring the fifth wheel closer to the truck, you know, for better maneuverability and stuff like that. And everything is spinning. The wheels are spinning. Like I'm hooked up to the trailer. I cannot move the fifth wheel. Okay, I figured I'm just gonna move away, park in the center where there's less ice. And so I hooked up the hoses, and then hydraulic hoses. I hate those. It took me probably half an hour. They just don't want to lock. You try everything because they're so stiff. The angle is bad. Those rings doesn't want to snap shut. I was puffing and that's why I really don't like dropping the trailer. Anyway, after half an hour, everything was done. Everything's hooked up. I raised the trailer, and the trailer was sitting on 2 blocks. And I'm like, okay, and they're frozen in the ice. I grab like a bar, try to free them. There's like this much ice, Screw them. I'm gonna leave them, right? And then I'm thinking I'm gonna drive over those timbers because there's so much ice, so that the height difference is actually very small. Because like normally I think the timber was like this tall, right, when it was on the ground, but now I have this much ice frozen. So I put the truck in gear. Nothing happens. I stick my head out of the window, all the wheels are spinning. Okay, I tried the lock the axles together, then lock the differentials on each axle. I have 3 switches, right? So I can lock the wheels on one axle, so they spin at with the same speed, because normally, right, they have a different speed. Then I lock the second axle, and then I can lock both axles together. So the 3, so it's like 4x4, like on a pickup truck, right? So full all-wheel drive, but on rear axles. Nothing. Everything is spinning. So I tried my floor mat. Put the floor mat under the tire. I found that the rubber, like narrow pieces of rubber, like conveyor belting. Put it on the other side. I even tried using my the plates that I exercise with sometimes, but they're slippery, they're metal, right? Nothing works, because under the tires it's all ice, and so you put the mat, and that rubber, it doesn't stay put. Basically the tire starts spinning and it just spits it out. And there's 2 trucks sitting to my left in the parking lot, and I see there's a guy inside, right? And he's looking at me. I'm doing this, trying to free the truck, and I'm jumping out of the cab, and I'm cleaning the snow. I went in the back, like the trailer wheels were all covered in snow. I cleaned that. I cleaned here, and that guy then he gets out of the truck and he just walks to his car and leaves. If this was me, I would probably come over and say, hey, you need any help? Yeah, now it's not like 70s or 60s, when truckers were kind of like a friendly bunch. But anyway, I don't want to call a tow truck. And there's nobody else around. Like, there's a guy there with that sometimes helps me flip my axle, right? With a crane, but it's already 5 o'clock. Everybody's gone. Like, the yard is dead. And that guy left because I thought, he could have pulled me because he had a loaded trailer. If he could come in the front, just I can hook up a chain to my tow hook in there, and I'm empty, right? So he could probably just tow me out. Anyway, then I had a idea that probably I should go to Home Depot or Canadian Tire and try to find some salt, or sand, something like that. Because I remember once I got stuck with a van trailer, couldn't go up a hill, and the guy left, the container guy is leaving. And what they used is they just used sand, you know. And so I got into my car and drove to Canadian Tire, and they said sold out. They said the manager actually drove to our warehouse and he's gonna bring a few skids. Basically, it's like very popular. Look at that guy. That guy is trying to, oh, I think he made it. He's trying to enter here. There's an empty spot. See, everything is. So actually for me it was very easy from this end, you know. It was cool. Lots of room in there. And so Canadian Tire, no salt. Then I went to Home Depot next door. Sold out. I looked at some mats. They have these big mats. I thought maybe I should buy, like, you know, some thick rubber, but one is like 30 bucks Canadian, but still, you know. I went inside. I asked one guy, I said, is there anything, I said, I don't need the actual like ice melting thing, I just need something for traction. I said, my truck is stuck in the parking lot. You have something I can use, like sand? Because I see some bags in there, but it's like concrete, you know, to make, but I was not sure if that would work, because, you know, concrete and then everything is melting. You put it under there because it was already warm, and that's water, right? And so melting snow and concrete, I don't think it would be a good idea. It can probably get stuck to my tires, you know. And the guy says, yeah, it's not, he says, I don't think you should use it. Okay. And I said, what's the story? Why nobody has that? I said, I went to Canadian Tire, why nobody has this, you know, de-icing thing? Oh, nobody in Cambridge has it. Really? I drive across the street. See, another guy would just turn around, go home, and start crying. But Captain SERGEI, well, I couldn't cry because I was so exhausted after fighting with these stupid hydraulic hoses for half an hour, then jumping. I probably, you know, if you looked at, I wanted to do a video, but it was too busy, and then the light was already bad, you know, it was already getting dark, and I didn't remember if my camera was charged, you know. Basically, at this point I'm exhausted, and so I don't stress out. I just drive across the street. Like, we have all this, you know, area over there in Cambridge. So there's Canadian Tire, which is kind of like Walmart, and then we have Home Depot, and you guys know what it is, right? Same as in the States. And then across the street there's Staples and there's Walmart. And I go there, and as soon as I enter, the first thing I see is sale, and there's like 2 skids, and there's some bags, you know, which looks like concrete, like what I saw at Home Depot. But this is Walmart, right? Like, they should be selling concrete. And I run over, and it says de-icer, like basically salt, exactly what I wanted. And each bag is like $5.50 or $5.70 or something, and each bag is 10 kilos, 22 pounds. And there was another family came over, and they were just thinking, and I ran back, I grabbed the cart, came over, boom, from the other side, and they started just throwing these bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, one more, 5. So I got 5 bags of 50 kilos, 122 pounds, right? No, wait, so 22 times 5, 110 pounds, and paid like 20 bucks Canadian. and drove back and, you know, ripped them open and just started putting that stuff on the ground, near tires, around tires. Then I went to the back where the trailer tires are, you know, and gave it like 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, moved my car away from the truck and put it in higher gear, right? Don't put it in like low or 1, you put it like 3 or 4, because I'm empty, right? And I made sure all my switches were on, like the axles were locked, the differentials were locked, and it didn't even hesitate. Just drove, you know, drove away from that spot. And then when I went back and I see it's all ice, and where the wheels were, it's like holes, you know, like in the ice there's a dip. And that's why, you know, there's no traction, and each wheel was sitting in a dip. And the same with the trailer, where the trailer wheels are. And so, of course, all that creates, you know, resistance. Oh, and another funny thing is when I tried to get this, you know, bar, like a wrecking bar, it was inside one of my compartments over there on the trailer, and I had gloves, right? And I clean away the snow, and I don't see the handle. Like, what the heck? Where's the handle? See, people are leaving. I hope he's not gonna hit me. Yeah, they just park here and just go grab coffee or something, and I don't know why you. It's very dangerous to drive now, because the weather's so bad. Everything is slippery. See, as soon as this guy leaves, another guy just pulls in. Because there's no parking. No parking everywhere. And this guy in the front, this Charger guy, Charger Logistics, he's not supposed to be there, you know? Anyway, so what was I saying? That salt really worked, and it was all ice. And then I put my car back in the same spot over the salt, so I know it's not gonna get frozen into ice. And then I drove to the middle of the yard, and I dropped the trailer, and over there was good traction, and I moved my fifth wheel closer to the front drive axle, and then I climbed on the top, and I secured the hose, because, you know, my hydraulic hoses are pretty long, so I use like some bungee cords in there to make them shorter. So I hooked them up to the gooseneck, and then I started driving, putting the destination in my and then I spent half an hour updating my log, because I didn't drive for 2 weeks. Right now I had to go through each day and sign, because I was off so many days, you know, and you have to sign each log. But anyways, then I'm driving. I decided to go on 407 on the toll road, because it was like, you know, rush hour time. It was like probably 5:30 or 6 or something like that. And I went on 407, and I feel that the truck drives very difficult, you know, like as if I have like 70,000 pound excavator on the back. Like, what the heck, you know? I look at my air filter restriction, okay, fuel filter restriction, okay. I thought maybe my air inlet intakes got frozen, because, you know, it's freezing rain, right? There's ice on everything. But I see the restriction, air restriction, no, it just shows a little bit, but it's normal. I check my axles, like the rear axle went to 100F, and then it went down to 0. Like, actually, that's one thing that happens, is that, you know, when a trailer and trucks sit for a long time in cold weather, like the axles get very cold, because there's oil inside, right? And it takes a while to warm them up, because, you know, when you warm up the engine, that's nothing to do with the axles, right? And especially after some cold freeze, you know, like super freeze, the axles are all frozen. And oh, and before I left the yard, I made sure I did a couple of zigzags, you know. I opened the window and I turned on my lights in the back there, and I was looking at the tires, make sure that the tires are spinning, because the trailer was sitting, what, like for a month probably, right? But no, to my surprise, all the wheels are spinning. I didn't have anything locked, even though the brakes were on. That's very bad, you know, when you disconnect, of course your spring brakes are on, right? And that's when your brake pads can freeze, you know, to the drums over there. But no, that was good. And so I went through Toronto, and it was already like 9 o'clock, and so I just stopped here. It's the first rest area east of Toronto. So from here I have about 600 miles or 1,000 kilometers to go to my shipper. But I look at my rate confirmation, it says loading time Friday 8 in the morning to like 3 p.m. you know. Cool. So all I gotta do is I wanted to do it now, but I feel so tired. I just want to watch some Netflix or YouTube or something, or make a movie. I'll do it tomorrow morning. Probably will get up at like 6. I need to prepare my permits, because I have all the dimensions, right? And normally I don't like doing this without seeing the load, but these guys are paying, right? The customer is paying for permits, so I'm not paying. So if there's a mistake, if they give me wrong dimensions, I will reorder and they will pay. So it's not my fault, right? And so I'm gonna use the dimensions they gave me, but I just need to create that little sheet, you know. But it's not bad. It's only what, Quebec, New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, I think. Just a couple of states, you know. And it's not heavy, right? So I'm under legal 80,000 pounds. It's just one. I'm picking up 3 pieces, like one long piece, some kind of parts for, you know, harvester or something, and then there's 2 skids. And they wanted me to send them pictures of my trailer, like, where can we load the skid? Sorry, where can we load the skids? I said in the back. And that's why I'm running with the 4th axle down, but I lifted axle 3. And so there's lots of room in there. I said I moved stuff. I said I had tires there before, so I know that you can put a skid, and they have 2 skids. So I said, let's put 2 skids in the back, and let's put this long piece, which is actually oversized, which is a bit wide. I think it's like 9.6 or 10 feet wide. But, you know, nothing crazy. Like very light, just 3 pieces, so I have to tie them down separately, of course. But anyway, so hopefully I can get out of New York by Saturday. But it's less than 10 feet. No, it should be okay. Yeah, if I get out of New York by Saturday noon, then I can drive on the weekend in Pennsylvania. But it's pretty far actually. It's from the shipper in Quebec to the delivery, it's 800 miles. Oh, and there's one more stop. They want me to, from that place, they want me to drive down to basically Quebec City, basically like an hour south, still in Canada. And I think that's where I pick up these 2 skids, I think. Yeah, I pick up like the big one, I pick up at that in the north, and then I drive down and I pick up a couple of skids, and then I can go. So yeah, tomorrow I need to do this permit request. I know who the broker is. They gave me the bill of lading, so I have my stickers right for the border crossing, so I'm gonna stick it. I'm gonna print out the bill of lading, send it to the broker, so we should be good. But yeah, it took a long time, I'm telling you. Like each day I was like in the office. I would go to a coffee shop because I like sitting, you know, with the people. I don't like sitting by myself. So I go there like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock till lunchtime. Then I go grab a lunch, then take a break, and then from after 2 o'clock or something, again, I'm staring at that load board, and everything is so cheap. And it was either cheap or it was too heavy, and they didn't want to pay anyway. Like there were loads 108,000 pounds, 120,000 pounds, 102, and I cannot do that. Or there were loads where they wanted to have like 33 feet in the well. You know, one guy had a crazy load 70 feet. And I'm like, where are you gonna find a double drop with 70 feet on the deck? Like, I'm not aware of double drops that can extend that much. Normally it's like, I think the biggest one I saw on Fontaine actually is like 58 feet. You know, like when it's like goes from 29 to 58. But I don't think there's any trailer which can go up to 70 feet. So I said, I was talking to this guy. I said, I think you need a extendable step deck, because a step deck can go, because a step deck in the closed position, it would have, let's say, 42 feet on the lower deck, right? And then you open it another, I don't know, 20, 30 feet. So I'm pretty sure a step deck would be longer than a double drop, you know. But then, of course, you have a problem with the height, you know. So anyway, it was a crazy load. Then another guy had the rate was okay, but then on the load board it says length 33 feet. So I emailed her. I said, how much do you need in the well? Well, it says the length is 33. I need 33. I said, well, that's not, you know, one thing does not mean the other. Like I said, a typical excavator is 36 feet long, but you only need 20 feet on the deck because the tracks are 14, 15 feet long, right? Yeah, most of the time, you know, these guys, they have no idea how much space is needed, but I'm glad that with this trailer, I don't have to worry if the clearance is enough, you know, like remember with my previous trailer, like this drill rig, for example. That drill rig, especially if it's small, would be very difficult to load on a drop side drill trailer, because some of them, the tracks are very close, you know. But here, all I had to ask him was, is it gonna work with a 26-foot well? That's it. I don't have to ask him about ground clearance, you know, how far the wheels are apart or the tracks. It's so much easier. So much easier when you have a level deck, you know. Okay, and the last thing I want to mention is that, remember I said the truck was pulling very hard? Well, meaning that not hard, well, it was pulling okay, but it felt very heavy. Like my speed was dropping, like driving empty, I go on a hill, the speed is dropping. What? So I figured there should be some ice on the trailer. So I grabbed that bar again, I went to the trailer, and there's like this much ice. Because yeah, when I was, I saw that when I was opening that compartment. Remember I said when I was trying to get that bar, that wrecking bar, I couldn't see the handles because it was under snow. There was, I'm serious, like more than an inch of ice, you know, but things started melting, so it was easy to break it. I basically just started stepping on it, and it started breaking, cracking, you know. But now I went on the trailer, and there's like the entire trailer is covered in ice, and I was smacking for maybe like 20 minutes with that bar, and the ice is still like, probably I removed half of the ice, but the other half is still there because it was so solid, you know, basically connected to the trailer. I couldn't take it off. Oh, and in the back, you know where they have this metal, kind of like a tray that protects the axles and the hoses in the very back? Each tray, that metal piece, I have like 3 of them, right, had again probably inch of ice on, you know, on the level surface. So I started smacking again. It's like this huge pieces of ice, you know, like this thick. And it's dangerous, you know, like when you're not supposed to drive on the freeway with this stuff. But anyway, it was solid. Before it was solid, nothing was falling apart. So probably by morning it's gonna all melt, because tomorrow they said it's gonna be +3 Celsius, or what is this, like 35, 36 F, you know. So I hope it's gonna melt, because that ice can be in the way of loading these pieces on Friday. So anyway, so that's what's happening. Finally I'm moving. Hopefully the truck will work, will not let me down, but I do have the spare filter, and I have the main filter. Well, actually this is considered primary, right? But I also have the secondary filter just in case. I got oil, I got this stuff, I got gloves, I got lots of clothes, so we should be good. So I'll try to post a video. I'll try to record how they're loading me, because they're probably gonna use probably a forklift or something, because it's not heavy, right? But another good thing is that I don't have to disconnect the trailer, because it's not something that you can drive on. It's just basically they're using me as a double drop, you know, like a real double drop. Means that the front is fixed to the trailer, it does not disconnect. But nobody uses these trailers anymore, pretty much, because it's much more useful to have the removable gooseneck, because sometimes you have this kind of load where they load with a forklift or crane, but then another time you have a load where they want to drive it on, right? So RGN, removable gooseneck, is so much more useful than just a double drop. But a long time ago, that's what lots of people were buying these regular double drops, right? That's where this expression comes from, double drop, meaning that there's one deck, then it goes down, there's a lower deck, the well, and then another deck in the back. So you have like 3 decks, but they're connected, you cannot separate them. So, well, I hope the weather will be better tomorrow. I'm gonna be very careful, drive slow, because I still have lots of time to get there. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Captain Sergei.